Okay, thank you for doing that in your small groups, okay? We are in Romans chapter 8. We were there last week, if you remembered. We're actually going to be there next week because Romans 8, some say, is the most important chapter of the entire Bible. So, if that being true, we should spend a little bit of time in there. I actually think we could probably spend a month or two in just Romans 8 alone. There's so much truth in there, and we won't be able to cover it all. As a matter of fact, today, I'm only going to try to cover two verses. Romans 8:18 and Romans 8:28. So the very first and the last verses that we were looking at today. Jordan is going to read those verses. I have them up on the screen, Jordan. So would you read verse 18? And everybody listen.
Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later. In Romans 8:28. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them.
Okay, thank you. Now, we're going to go back to verse 18, but this verse I'm going to show you in a couple of different versions, okay? If you look up here, there's three. Do I need to turn the other light off? Can you guys read that? Or is it good? All right. Hey, we're working with what we have here. This is the way it is, okay? So there's a couple different versions here. I want to read all three of them to you. This is the one that says NASB. Anybody know what that stands for? National, no. New American Standard. There you go. And then when we say message, some of you have this. This is actually a paraphrase. A guy by the name of Eugene Peterson wrote like a paraphrase of the whole Bible, and this is what that's from. NLT is what you have in your chair. Okay? All right? Okay, listen, guys. Okay, we don't need all this comment afterwards. All right, listen. NASB says, "For I consider that the suffering of the present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us." The Message paraphrase says this: "That's why I," speaking of Paul, "don't think there's any comparison between the present hard times and the coming good times." NLT says, "Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory that will be revealed in us later." All right. So in your small groups, at least I got to hear a little bit of one of them. In your small groups, you had a question similar to this. But what would some of our present suffering be today? Some real suffering. What would that look like today? Anybody? Craig? Is your hand up or no? Well, okay, economy. Economically, there's some suffering going on. Yeah, Brandon? War. There is war. Not just our country over in other places, but there's other countries fighting with inside their own country against each other. There's wars. That's suffering. What other sufferings are happening? Yes, Evan. Starvation. Right. We don't experience that, but if you've ever seen the images or the videos or been in a country where people are starving, you see the suffering there. What else? What other kind of sufferings are there? Yes. Poverty. Yes. What else? Hannah. Sicknesses all over. How many of you know somebody that is just sick today? They're sick today. They're not here. They're just sick. Okay? All right, some of you. All right, any other sufferings? Paul, you have one?
Oh, no.
Okay, any other sufferings you can think of?
Yeah.
Death? Yes. That's the ultimate of suffering, isn't it? Right? How many of you know somebody that is so sick that they're like what we would call bedridden? They can't get out of their bed. They're in a wheelchair. Maybe they have a disease. They have cancer. They have AIDS. They have any of those things. How many of you know some people that are that sick? Okay, raise your hand. Almost all of us would know somebody that is suffering in that way. And I think we would all say that of those people that they've got it pretty hard. That you wouldn't want to be in their shoes. They've got a life pretty hard as far as the suffering. Well, there is a day when every wheelchair, every crutch, every sickness, every disease, whether it's AIDS, cancer, you name it, there's coming a day when none of that will happen anymore as we get to heaven. Even the pain that you might feel from time to time, whether it's your hurt ankle, okay? Someone said they can't play basketball tonight because their leg was hurting. That kind of stuff won't exist. We will be freed up. And those people that are in cartwheels, that are having those problems, they will not They won't have that. They're going to be doing like all kinds of exercises in heaven because for the longest time, they will not have been able to do that. Okay? You will not see any of this in heaven. You will not see handicap parking in heaven. You will not see the pink ribbons to support something because that won't exist. Whether it's breast cancer or whatever it is. There won't be people doing walks and runs and marches and fundraising for cancer because it won't happen up there. You won't see a hospital and you won't have to take a flu shot because in heaven it won't happen. Okay? Now the scripture says this, and I want you to see a couple of verses in the Bible. Philippians chapter 3, it says, our citizenship is in heaven. The Lord will transform our body. And then in Revelations it says, He will wipe away every tear from our eyes, and there shall be no longer any death. Okay? I don't know if I worded that exactly right. But I think that is very encouraging. What is coming, though, to the believers that we can't see yet? Now, we hope for things, right? But we are hoping for something we don't actually see yet. We are hoping for something that isn't happened yet. Now, if we hope for something we already have, it doesn't matter. I can hope for a 2006 Dodge Dakota, but I already have that, right? I can hope for, a wonderful wife, but I already have that. I can hope, that I'd be out of shape, but I already am that. I can hope to be the youth pastor with a great group of teenagers, but I already have that, right? So what is it that we hope for someday in heaven? What is it that we hope for that is yet to come? Shout some things out. Yeah, Eric.
No pain.
No pain. We hope for that. What else?
Dog.
You hope there's no dogs. Okay? All dogs go to heaven. Isn't that a movie? Yeah, that's just a movie. All right. What else? What else? Yes?
No conflict.
No conflict. That means between your brother and sister, your parents, your teachers, your friends. What else? What do we hope for? What else? What do you hope for in heaven? What? No drama. You hope for no drama. Save the drama for your mama, right? No. What else? What is it that you hope for in heaven? Even the scriptures have talked about what heaven is. What is that? That things are perfect. What else?
No goodbyes.
No goodbyes. Ooh, deep. Nice. What else? Music, eternal life. Yeah, I actually think there might be a problem. Yeah, Deborah? There you go. We actually will get to see Jesus because He'll be there. Here's, I think, some of our problem. Guys, listen. I don't think we even think about heaven so much as what it is, the hope that we have yet that's going to come. I think we're so happy living our life right now the way we are because some of you, you're like, but I want to get to high school. And then when I get to high school, I want to go to like the senior prom because that's like really fun. And like homecoming, that's like really cool to dance and stuff. I want to enjoy that first. I want to go to college. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to retire and go fishing all the time. We want to experience all that life stuff first more than we have the hope of being in heaven. I'm guilty of that. Okay? I remember when I was your age, I could remember thinking, man, I can't wait to be in high school. I can't wait to go to college. I thought for a long time if I was ever even going to be able to go to college. Then I was able to go to college, and I'm like, I can't wait to get married. And then Heather and I, we both said, I do. We got married. And then a few years later, we're like, I can't wait to have kids. It's going to be so much fun. I'm guilty of that. I wonder, though, if we changed our life to be looking forward to what God has for us in heaven, how that would change us. I don't know. Because of sin that has entered into this world. And where did sin enter the world? Does anybody know?
Snake.
Someone said through a snake. No, it didn't happen through a snake. But that was in the story, right? Someone I heard say Adam and Eve, right? Because sin has entered the world. Do you know this? We all die. Of course you do, right? You've probably noticed by now that people are born and people die. And that's because of sin, right? Because of sin, we all die. There's no escaping this unless, what's the only way to escape death? As a Christian. No, you still could die if you believe in Jesus. Plenty of people that have died have believed in Jesus. What if he comes back while you're still alive? That's the only way that you might escape dying physically, right? So that hasn't happened yet. So as far as all those people, we aren't going to escape death. But when we die, listen, it is not our finality. It is not over. As believers, when we die, it's not over. It's not over. And that's a good thing. We have a life that will be better than we now live. That's coming. That's our hope. We have a life to live that we can't even explain really a whole lot. It's better than the things that we can even imagine. And I look at this earth, and there's a lot of great things I think that we get to experience, that we get to live here, we get to enjoy all of this. But every time I take communion, I put myself in the position of being right there when Jesus Christ's body was being beat and his blood was being shed. I put myself there, and I appreciate my Jesus even more because of what he did for me. But then even while I'm taking communion, I begin to wonder, what in the world is it like to be in heaven, to walk with Jesus, to see Jesus, as Deborah says, to live in the house or the place that God has prepared for me, to be able to worship with all the believers. I wonder. And even after I'm all done wondering and imagining, I'm still left yet to imagine what in the world it would be like. You know this song. We're going to sing it together. It's put out by Mercy Me. Levi's going to lead us. But you can just stay seated and sing I Can Only Imagine.